Hello and welcome back. This is Penny Sansevieri and Amy Cornell, and we are here with the Book Marketing Tips and Author Success Minisode podcast. I still love saying that. It's so weird, but I love doing these smaller, compressed shows because, as we've talked about, little snackable content that people can kind of run with. So today we wanted to talk about something to improve your website. So a lot of authors come to us and say, my website's not good and I need, people aren't really taking action. They're not signing up for my newsletter, whatever. Images can greatly improve your website. So clear, crisp images, and in fact, real faces, so real people, not necessarily models. This is kind of a little weird, geeky, nerdy thing that I just love. People looking at you rather than looking away helps to improve your website conversion. So having somebody that doesn't necessarily look like a model, so somebody that looks like somebody who could be, your customer, looking at the camera or looking at you has a better conversion rate than somebody who's just kind of looking away. And Amy, we've discovered that on our own site because we've played around a lot with images on the Author Marketing Experts website too.
Yeah, we've gone down this path and turned around and gone down other paths. Like we've been there. It's just very real. And we've gotten some great advice over the years about what images work and what don't. And I think your point was really smart, Penny, that you really want to think about. It's not just finding the model on an image bank that checks off all the other boxes of what you need, if that makes sense, because you really want to represent people that are in your target audience.
Yeah.
Because if I go somewhere and I'm looking at a product and it shows somebody that I don't resonate with at all, you lose a lot of the buyer psychology there. But if I go on and I see images that's wow, I resonate with who these people are, that's really smart. Because we've done that a lot, Penny, for what it's worth. We don't work with a lot of authors that are in their early 20s, yeah. But we go to find images to use. It's wow, everybody's really young and gorgeous.
Right.
It's
exactly.
Okay, let's be realistic here. Really, young and very made up. It's these are not our people. We invite the young and gorgeous, but at the same time, it's people that have sat down and put time and energy into writing a book, you know what I mean? It's not the 21-year-old that's on the beach. That is not a good, that's not a good image for us to use.
Right, exactly. I mean, you really have to represent your market. And if you've written a book for, moms, a mom is probably not going to resonate with somebody who looks like, who's the mom from the 50s? I can't even think of the name right now. Somebody out there is screaming at what?
June Cleaver?
Yes, right? If you have somebody on that, looking up, Amy, would you be drawn to that? You're a mom.
No. This is why we're doing a podcast and not a TV show. Let's be honest here.
This is why we don't do our podcast and video. Yes.
I know, but it's very true though. And it's we're not saying that you have to be a certain way or you have to be this or you can't be this, but you really do want to make smart choices about who your audience is. And also, we're also saying that you're not picking one image. So you have lots of opportunities to represent a varied market. But be smart and strategic about it because people we are drawn to other people. That's very important. They do all these studies on babies and socialization and stuff. And babies love faces. This is ingrained in our DNA. We are drawn to faces and we are drawn to people that we feel we resonate with. This is very much, this is ingrained in us and you should use it to your benefit.
And, you don't have to necessarily overdo it, but if you have if you wanted to show a picture of an excited reader, maybe holding your book or holding a device to read your ebook or something, make sure that they're looking at the camera, that they're not necessarily looking down at the book. And it's a funny thing, but every blog that you read, every article that you read on increasing your website conversion, they talk about images as one of the bigger things. Even if you say, Penny and Amy, thanks, I don't really want to use people on my website, that's fine. don't use pixelated, hard to see images, because the mind is an image processor. It's not a word processor. So if you show an image that's ugly or hard to see, or is very, fuzzy or too small or whatever,
Yes.
People, and I see that a lot on websites where I'm like, oh my gosh, they could have really done so much better. The other thing, the final tip is, and this is kind of weird, and I don't know why this is, although the nerd side of me really wants to know, if you're going to show a mobile device, so if you're going to show somebody reading your book on a device, make sure it's an Apple product. Isn't that weird?
Well, doesn't surprise me though.
I know, but it's kind of, when you think about that, you're like, wow, so if you're showing like and there's nothing wrong with Android devices, and there's nothing wrong with Kindle readers, etc. But for whatever reason, the general consensus is the Apple products do tend to help the conversion on your website. So there you go. Even if you're on an Android device yourself, definitely use the Apple products on your website. But these small things, and we've seen this on our own website, small things can really make a big difference. So if you're struggling with your website, make sure that your images are crisp and clear. And if you want to add people, make sure that they look like your reader and that they're looking at the camera. Thank you so much for tuning in to our Minisode podcast. This is Penny Sansevieri and Amy Cornell, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.